Hey, what's up guys, I'm Henry. Welcome again with another video. So here I am with my Panasonic G9. I finally got this beast of a camera. This has been like a dream for me, like a dream camera, and with its latest firmware, this camera has just unlocked its full potential. So actually this camera has matured so much. The first thing that you can notice on this camera that you have also heard other reviewers talking about it is the ergonomics. And I would repeat myself again and say that you have to actually try handling this camera and prove the great ergonomics that you get out of this camera. This is just built like a tank and has way better ergonomics than a Sony camera, for example. Something that I noticed in contrast to my Panasonic Lumix G7, first of all, of course, is the weight of the body, and also this is big, of course, but this is also weather sealed, so this you can actually shoot in the rain and you will be fine with this camera. Another thing that I noticed was the LCD screen. So the screen on the G9 is just way better. I mean, the resolution is like you see things looking sharper and, you know, just better, more clarity, and it's just a better experience. Even though in the G9 you don't get the NTSC or PAL switch function like you get it on the GH5 or the GH5S, on the G9 you actually have all the options to record in 4K 30 FPS, 25 FPS, 60 FPS, 50 FPS, so it doesn't matter for that switching function because you already have all these options. I mean, what else could you actually ask from a camera manufacturer? You get full-size HDMI, you get a mic jack, you get also a headphone jack. You can also charge this camera just through your power bank through an USB cable. You get two SD card slots with ultra speed transfers. You also get this remote port right here. You also get extra buttons for customization. For example, right here I have this switcher set it to stabilization off if I'm going to leave this camera on the tripod, or I can switch it down and, you know, use it as a vlogging camera and have that 5-axis in-body stabilization turned on and have that smooth footage. Also, you get these two other buttons right here, which you can also again customize this button. And for example, I've customized one and I've set it to the timer. So if I want to take a family picture, I can just leave a camera somewhere and, you know, I can press that button, switch it to timer and then shoot, and it will take automatically after 10 seconds or 3 seconds a picture that you want to take. And also this red ring right here makes this camera look aesthetically very beautiful, I would say, right? So now I want to switch cameras. I want to actually put the Panasonic G9 on the tripod and, you know, check the autofocus and yeah. And this is the Panasonic G9. Let me know how does it look in comparison to my actually iPhone 11, because the G7 you already know now that, you know, I sold it because I had to buy the G9, the beast. Alright, so this camera right now is shooting 4K 30 FPS with MOV format, 250 ISO, white balance auto, mattering mode center weighted, and the aperture 1.7. The maximum that this lens can actually open. So this is the Leica 15mm F1.7 with a Panasonic G7 that I did the test last time. You can tell that the autofocus wasn't actually so fast, and actually the kit lens was way faster. But right now I'm going to try this with the Panasonic G9 with the latest firmware 2.1, and, you know, I have set it face detection turned on. So this is how the autofocus is working right now. And so it's catching my face, okay. Nice. So right now I'm going to vanish. Alright, here I have a gun. Okay, yeah, it gets way quicker than actually the Panasonic G7, I would say, right? And I'm not sure about any pulsing on the background. I cannot tell by such a small screen, but on the screen I can tell that the screen is as big as my eyes can actually see that I'm actually quite punchy in focus. For some reason I've also let the animal detection turned on, you know, just for as an added option. I guess it drains much more energy, much more battery, I would say. Let's see if the face detection actually works with, you know, different stuff, with objects. So I'm reviewing this watch right now. Let's see. This is the G-Shock Mode Master PB100. So here is the G-Shock that I'm going to review today, and here is me, the hoster of this show. Here is the G-Shock you know, face detection turned on, and it still can focus even in such things. So it's like, you know, alright, so we can both agree that the face detection autofocus works phenomenal on this camera. Now, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to change the autofocus style, and I'm going to set it to, let me find the button, F1, okay. Single area autofocus, okay, continuous autofocus is always turned on. So here we have the single area autofocus. So if I move here, it should focus right there. If I come here, it should focus me pretty fast, right? Wow, it's pretty fast. Back to me, iPhone 11, back to me. You know, works pretty fast. And you know what, just let me know, do you know, just for talking, just for conversation, do you actually notice any, because from this LCD screen I don't notice any hunting of the background, even though it's a bit far for me, but if you can notice anything, just leave your comments down below, and what do you think about this performance? So let's go again here, back to my face. Let's try it maybe with this cap lens. I guess that from now on I'm just going to use the Panasonic autofocus system, because to me it looks very reliable. I mean, you saw it yourself. So you can tell through my enthusiasm that I'm loving this camera so much, and also the Micro Four Thirds system, especially with this latest firmware, the 2.1, that has made this camera an absolute beast. I want to share a little story with you. So I'm the guy that I'm a big fan of Canon. I've always been, because of color science and also, you know, features that it has, camera menus, everything, ergonomics. So I started my YouTube channel with a Canon T2i, and then I moved along to Sony because Sony had better image quality. And so there was something that I was missing from the Canon, and it was the ergonomics. The Sony was such a tiny camera. Here's a picture of me having the Sony with my action camera, so you can tell that the Sony actually doesn't have the same ergonomics as the DSLR or Canon, because, you know, it's such a tiny small camera. So I didn't like that. Plus with Sony would experience overheating issues, and I had to leave open the battery compartment door and in the same time tilt the screen away from the body so that the heat would actually dissipate in different ways. And then in 2017 the GH5 and the Panasonic G9 came along. The G9 came after the GH5, but whatever. These cameras are implemented in Micro Four Thirds system, which means have a smaller sensor than APS-C, but by having a smaller sensor, these also do have a big body, making these to implement also inside these large bodies also large heat sinks that would actually dissipate the heat, and so the sensor would just work better, cooler, give you better image processing for longer shooting, and, you know, give you more reliability with overheating issues. I mean, no one in this planet has ever had overheating issues with the Panasonic GH5 or GH4 or, you know, G9, G95, G85, it doesn't matter. Even with my G7 that I had previous on this channel, I never had overheating issues. With Micro Four Thirds sensor, you can actually get lenses much cheaper because you get this 2x crop factor. If you want to buy a lens 800mm in Canon, it will cost $2,000 to $3,000. If you want an 800mm lens in a Micro Four Thirds sensor, you just buy that shoots in 400mm. That will cost you less and will just be smaller. And because of that 2x crop factor, you'll get the same thing that you would actually buy on a Canon with 800mm focal length, right? So with the Panasonic G9, I could have the great ergonomics that I missed from the DSLR from Canon, in the same time have the same image quality as Sony actually provided. Still, I like the color science better on the Panasonic. Even in low light, with a fast glass such as this Leica 15mm F1.7, you can get insane footages. So this was my journey from Canon, then moved along to Sony, and now to the Micro Four Thirds sensor with my Lumix G9. I don't know, but I feel so complete and fulfilled with my needs for the camera. Okay guys, before I wrap up this video, I just want to give my conclusion. So, I love the G9. What do you need more than a 4K 60 FPS? I don't need 6K, I don't need 8K. I mean, people still don't have TVs that actually show 4K footage, right? Most people have 1080p TVs, right? Full HD, but they don't have 4K. And of course, they don't have an 8K TV. The Panasonic G9 has the best of both worlds, videography and also photography. With this camera, you can never go wrong. This camera is such a joy to handle. I just love this camera. I really hope you found this video enjoyable, helpful, and if so, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you next. I'm Henry, have a good one, bye bye.